I never remember a time in my life when I wasn't attending actively in a church. As a small child, I grew up in a church. My parents, it was a Baptist church, and parents had us there twice on Sundays and every Wednesday. Did that my whole life, and I think I was pretty attentive as a child to what was being said and thoughts about God. And when I was, I think 11, we were having vacation Bible school, and the pastor took the oldest youth class there. It was about 10 or 12 of us. Talked to us for a few minutes and had us all bow our heads and asked if we were saved and raise our hands if we were not. And of course there were about a dozen of us that raised our hands, and he then asked us to all pray a prayer to ask Jesus into our life, and we did that. And when we finished, he congratulated us for all being saved. And a week later I was baptized, and I kind of knew that that might not have been, the whole experience, but at the same time, I was in tune enough, with church and talking about God and thinking about God, to where I probably considered myself saved. But later on, as I grew, I had questions, I had thoughts, and I remember in college I was listening to someone, and I was very active, with youth all the way through high school and then in college on campus ministries and stuff. But I still had questions. Not necessarily doubts, but maybe sometimes. And I remember hearing a minister one time say, he asked, why were we saved? Why did we want a relationship with God? And then before we could answer, he said, don't answer out loud, but think about it. And if the first thing that comes into your mind is so that I can go to heaven, he said, then you have to understand that that's a selfish thing. That's all about you. That has nothing to do with your relationship with God. And it really made me think, why was I following this journey? Why was I, what was it in God that I wanted to do? What relationship did I really want? From that time to now, I've been on a journey. One of my favorite pastor friends helped me understand that, especially as young Christians, we always think of when we finally walk down the aisle, when we finally accept Jesus, when we're saved. That's the Christian experience, as if that's a finish line. But in fact, that's not the finish line. That's actually the starting gun. And our relationship begins there and continues from there. And we haven't even gotten started when that occurs. As I get older, I find it more important than ever to really try to first be open to what God wants and put my wants, my thoughts, my feelings aside and try to tune into Him. I say in our Bible study classes all the time, we all have our own opinions, and that's okay. But in the end, it really doesn't matter what you think or he thinks or I think. The only opinion that really counts is, what does God think? And if we're not doing everything to line up with what God wants and what He thinks, then we're just missing the boat. It seems like everywhere Jesus is trying to take us involves love, mercy, forgiveness. And if whatever actions we think are Christian are doing anything outside of love and mercy and forgiveness, then we have to ask, is this really what God wants? Or is this something that I want, something that makes me look good? makes me feel better about myself, which is certainly not the right answer. I think it's so healthy for a person as a Christian to want to grow. When we look at our lives and we have the same view of God we had when we were 12 years old, there may not be a whole lot of growth there. And we do grow. Life changes, life evolves. And as I said earlier, God doesn't change, but our understanding of Him should. As we grow, as our life evolves, our understanding should grow. And if we have the same thoughts of God today that we had 20 years ago, then we probably need to look and see, is this really what God wants from me? I can't wait for the next book study, Bible study. I love thinking, I love listening to others because that's always so helpful to me. Understand myself, and my thoughts. And it's just, I hope that as long as I live, I'm able to always look back and say, ooh, I'm still moving forward. I'm still listening. I'm still open. And let God talk.